Oh, we're live.
We are live. I had to change my name tag, folks. Sorry, last night's was jokey. Today's is not jokey. Folks, first off, I do want to start out today. Thank you, as always, for tuning into Behind the Numbers. Andrew and I are always delighted to be with you guys to walk you through the polling of the week and to give you a perspective on where America's heads are at. Since our last show, we have had the unbelievable developments in Minnesota that have now led to the arrest of Don Lemon. I'm going to say this, Don is a friend. Don and I have known each other for a very long time, probably close to, 12 or 13 years now. A lot of TV, love him to death. He has gone out and created an independent outlet, The Don Lemon Show, that is covering a lot of the moments that we are in right now, including the public execution of people by the government in Minnesota, including filming and commenting at a protest in Minnesota. Pam Bondi has ordered his arrest. She is a singularly dangerous person as Attorney General of the United States of America. She is a out-of-control autocrat. The entire Department of Justice is going to have to be hosed out and washed out when this is done. But the abuse of power in this autocracy has now reached the arresting journalist phase. If you are not awake to this now, I don't know what to tell you. If you don't get it now, I don't know what to tell you. This is the bad place.
Yeah.
And you know what? They arrested him in LA last night, covering the Grammys. He was covering this protest. He did not cause it or instigate it or promote it as something he was doing. He is a journalist. It is the only profession in which the Constitution specifically outlines a set of legal and constitutional protections in the First Amendment. And this administration has now gone once again into the darkness by arresting a journalist.
Yeah.
Andrew, it's unbelievable.
I think there's a lot of context here that is really important. I think one of the reasons why they did this just now is to throw a bone to the MAGA media class.
Yeah.
They were outraged that Greg Bovino was taken off the streets of Minneapolis.
Baggins.
Trump needed to regain their favor by targeting someone that they particularly hate.
Yep.
And of course, it's no coincidence that Don Lemon is a black man.
I put my odds of arrest, by the way, right now at somewhere around 60%. Because they're running a program on me too with Alex Jones and Roger Stone and the rest of these assholes right now.
They will continue targeting journalists and public figures who are against Trump. This is currying favor with the base. This is classic authoritarian trap, actually.
Huge.
He will continue to feed the base these ridiculous and totally, there is no justification. Again, I know we've said this about a million different things that the Trump administration has done, but there's no justification for this.
None.
Not even remote.
None.
There's no remote possibility that Don Lemon's arrest had anything to do with the law or the rule of law or law and order. This is just about silencing people who are.
That is correct.
Trump.
That is correct.
And he needed to throw this bone out to the MAGA influencers online because they were starting to grumble. And he'll continue. What he'll keep doing is appealing to his base, appealing to MAGA media influencers. And that's why he can't de-escalate any of this violence with ICE or CBP.
Yep.
They demand, the MAGA base and the MAGA media class demand that Trump continues this brutal campaign,
a spectacle
of state terrorism on Americans. And he can't say no because he's so captured by this audience. He is unable to do anything but serve the base red meat. And that's what he'll keep doing. And that's why no replacing Greg Bovino with Tom Homan is going to de-escalate. No. That's why no, floating Kristi Noem might be fired is going to de-escalate the problem.
Nope.
There is no going back. It is only going to ratchet up until it all sort of comes apart.
It only goes one direction, sadly. And unfortunately, I think we are at a moment where, and I know folks, you are tired of hearing this, maybe not tired of hearing it. Every week, as Trump's numbers get worse, the recklessness will increase.
We talked about this last year, several times, that as his polling went down, he would start to behave more erratically, and that's evident in these last few weeks. His polling has taken a dive once again. So this is from Pew this week. I think it was released yesterday. Half of Americans say that Trump actions have been worse than they expected. So 50% of people say that what the Trump administration has done this year is worse than what they anticipated last year. Excuse me.
Right.
There's 21%. There's the MAGA base, and some skeptical
shrinking every day.
That 28% is probably some Republicans and some sort of, I don't necessarily use the word nihilistic centrists or Democrats, but people who anticipated that it would be this bad. People who support Donald Trump's policies.
Fatalistic, I think, more than nihilistic.
Fatalistic is probably a more accurate term. 52% say they support few or none of the Trump administration's policies. Half the country is against his policies. Only less than a third is in support. This has been a conversation for a while that Trump doesn't have a lot of legitimacy left with American voters.
No.
And when you continue to behave worse and worse and worse, you wear down that legitimacy further and further. Mm-hmm. And ultimately, that's really bad for the federal government. Ultimately, that's really bad for the whole country. I think the constant lying and the calling Americans domestic terrorists and arresting journalists and executing people on the street, that doesn't help even remotely. So you can also see on the right here, this right chart.
Damn, that's an indictment from hell.
A drop in confidence, a major drop in confidence. Now, if ethics were a really important thing for American democracy, I would say that's really terrible. But there's a sort of expectation with Donald Trump that he's going to behave unethically. So that bottom one doesn't necessarily surprise me. Now, respect for the country's democratic values. Obviously, Trump has none of that. And those people who, support him, I don't think really like democracy. Now, picks good advisors, I think, is an interesting one, because you hear this on Fox a lot lately. That Trump's getting a lot of bad advice. It's the good czar, bad boy R's problem.
Yeah, right.
So this is a recurrent theme in the first administration, where you saw, Trump's just getting bad advice from whomever. That's not the case. Trump, they pander to him. This is about him. You can see that in cabinet meetings. His cabinet advisors exist to boost his ego.
Correct. Fluffers, not cabinet.
The argument that somehow has to do with all these bad advisors is BS. And you see Tom Tillis come out and say, Kristi Noem, Stephen Miller, they're incompetent, they're losers. But just you watch, he will not keep that same energy if there is another nomination process for, say, a DHS secretary.
Of course.
He will continue to pander. He won't ever say that the president is incompetent or a loser or doesn't know how to pick people who are competent. But he'll always blame the advisors. You can't target the president if you're a Republican, but you can target these people. It's a shame. So this is actually a really fascinating trend that we're starting to see in some recent polling. Republicans turning against Trump. There's been a drop in especially mental fitness. I think going down 9 points is pretty significant. It does seem less and less that Trump actually runs the government, and that more and more Stephen Miller is operating the government.
President Miller is in full command of this government.
Right.
By the way, I just want to take 1 second, Andrew, and somebody in the comments said, imposter Andrew Wilson. No, guys, I've known him for 30 years. That's him.
It's really me. I'm not wearing a wig.
But those numbers are with if you look at has the mental fitness to do the job, and you're down to only 2/3 of Republicans believing that, and that's with leaners too. That's a pretty catastrophic number.
It's really, Trump's mental fitness, I think, is something that people should really start to focus on a lot more. He distracts with a lot of this ICE stuff, but when Republicans are starting to say that the president's mental fitness is slipping, I think that probably reminds them of the constant drumbeat from the Biden administration, where it's not hard for them to imagine a president who appears to be senile or demented, especially when there is one.
Look, he can't stand up in the office anymore.
He can't stay awake in a cabinet meeting. Can't stand up and the bruises. I mean, the bruises on both hands.
He looks. I was joking about this the other night. It's like Trump reminds me of like those scenes in the beginning of a zombie movie, where somebody got bitten and they're like, hey, right, it's patient zero, but. Like, why do you have that scam? Oh, a weird guy bit me on the subway.
It's nothing.
It's nothing. And then the next day, the whole world is on fire.
Right.
So he is not a well man, and we're seeing it play out in public. I don't know what happened yesterday in the Oval when they had that press briefing, where they ran people out of the Oval, where they ran the press out of the Oval like it was a panic. Some people said he pooped himself. I don't know, but this guy is physically and mentally collapsing, and it's not subtle anymore.
No, and on top of the fact that he is reacting very poorly to his polling and general public perception, he is deeply, deeply senile. He has the mental capacity of
a toaster oven.
Yeah, he's really lacking, and it will bleed into the public. It is only a matter of time. He will make more campaign appearances throughout the midterms, and we will see it again and again. And they will continue to deny it. They will deny it up and down. But
he was giving a talk the other day, and he thought he was in Iowa.
Yeah, well, and the Iceland comments.
Sure,
it
doesn't work, y'all. All right, here we go.
So this is support for his agenda. You can see another big drop with Republicans in support for his agenda. I think this has a lot to do with what's happening with ICE. Their reaction to what they did has this huge ripple effect among Republicans.
Yep.
Number one, the idea of roving bands of federal agents executing somebody who is exercising their Second Amendment rights is the exact kind of bugaboo you heard from Republicans for the last, I don't know, forever.
As a guy who believes in the Second Amendment, you guys, I was told over and over again it would be liberal hit squads led by Kamala Harris and Barack Obama who came to take your guns away.
Not so.
Now you've got Trump and Patel and Noam and the rest of these monkeys saying, well, you can't just have a gun anytime you want one. Oh, and really?
This gets back to the fact that Trump doesn't actually believe in any of the shit he says.
Correct.
He's never believed in the Second Amendment. He's never had a strongly held belief about anything political or government related to government or the Constitution. He has no strong beliefs other than Donald Trump must be on top.
Make money, humiliate everyone else. Yeah.
Right, exactly. So, he doesn't believe in the Second Amendment. And if he doesn't believe in it, then it doesn't matter. But it does matter to a lot of Republicans. It still matters to a lot of the base.
That's right.
He cannot come out and say you can't have a gun at a protest when for years and years and years and years and years, we've seen people on the right show up legally to protests with firearms.
Yep.
And this is a big part of the right-wing protest culture is showing up with firearms.
Sure.
You saw it at the Michigan State Capitol. You saw it on January 6th. You saw it.
Those idiots in St. Louis out on their porch with their tiny pocket pistol and their Walmart AR.
And of course the most notable example is Kyle Rittenhouse.
Sure.
It flies in the face of everything they've said about the Second Amendment for years.
And say what you will about Kyle Rittenhouse as a human being, he's a terrible monkey, but it was legal for him to carry that gun in the state of Wisconsin.
Yep, it was.
That was legal for him to carry that gun, and a court of law found him to be not guilty. Now, that doesn't that logic doesn't seem to hold up all of a sudden, because they're like, okay, Kyle Rittenhouse is a hero for shooting a guy in the street, 2 people actually, and Alex Preddy is a domestic terrorist for having a legally concealed weapon, and in Minnesota it requires to be registered, legally registered and concealed weapon that he was not holding in his hand, that he was not threatening to use, that he was not brandishing in any way. He's a terrorist. Kyle Rittenhouse is a hero. I don't want to hear a goddamn thing about it, people.
I don't. And they're all, the right-wing media is all hopping on this new video.
Right.
And I want to talk about that for a second.
Yeah, let's go through that.
First of all, I don't think the new video is penetrating the public conscience the way that the first videos did. Second, if you think that somehow kicking out the taillight of a rental car,
right?
And clearly he was angry.
Sure.
I probably would be too if federal agents were invading my city. That does not give them license to gun him down 11 days later.
The penalty for kicking a tail light is not death.
No. And they can take Greg Bovino off the street all they want. These ICE agents are going to continue to act like this as long as the Trump administration.
The culture is driven by Miller at the top. It will continue to be brutal. It will continue to be violent, and it will continue to do what it's designed to do, which is to intimidate Americans and make them fear their government. And I think this is also underpinning a lot of this moment that Trump is in with his polling. I think this sense of now it's not a joke anymore. Now it's not just owning the libs anymore. Now it's real.
Yeah. And the polling with regards to Alex Preddy, and I know this has been covered sort of ad infinitum, Americans hate what happened.
Oh, they hate it.
They do not like this
they
one
hate
bit.
It.
And the people who are saying they do think it was justified are the hardcore MAGA base.
Yeah,
you will never convince them that anything that Trump or his administration does is wrong. But the broad sweep of the country saw this video and said, "This is not what I want."
Right. This was like it was like a big no thank you, even among a lot of Republicans. And I have talked to a lot of my pro-gun guys in the last week who have been like, "Oh shit, man, this isn't it."
No,
and we'll probably see some polling on the Second Amendment stuff by next week, I'm guessing. I know there's some out in the field.
So one of the things that the Trump administration does, they don't make law. Congress is inactive, basically. This is the least productive Congress in so many years. What Trump does is make executive orders and set precedents.
Right.
And when the precedent is that you can arrest journalists or shoot Americans in the street, that becomes the law under the authoritarian regime. So this is polling about Congress. And this has been a trend with Democrats that they have been saying, my congressional leaders need to get up off their lazy asses and probably try to fix some of this. They just don't have the fight.
Look, and yesterday, Lincoln Project advocacy went up. I think we've got the ad and the image that we're doing in DC this week. We've got this ad banging on Capitol Hill and around DC. It's hitting all the Democratic members. Let's see if we can play the. Do we have the video loaded? Yeah, we've got. This is our the logo image of it. Which, if you missed the Banksy reference, I hope you see it now. But that is where we're at. Yeah. The government shooting people in the back of the head in the street. Let's see if we can play that video. Do we have that?
Do we?
I don't know. Let me look in the chat. We are going to be video. Sorry. We'll get the video we'll play the video at the end. But we're advertising right now in DC to keep the Democrats from caving in on this DHS bill.
Yeah.
Now, I will say they had a success yesterday by splitting off the DHS bill. We are now going to have 2 weeks of debate about the DHS bill.
Yeah.
This is a good thing for the Democrats. I give Schumer credit for not screwing us. God bless. Yet. But none of this is possible if they cave. And people want them to fight. That poll, that slide we just had up, they want them to fight. I mean, Andrew, you and I have been talking about this. They want them to fight. Stand up to Trump.
And I imagine if you were to break this out, if this poll was for independents, and there might be in the crosstabs, independents want the Democratic Party to fight the Republican Party just as bad because they need to see some balance in the government. And Republicans, remember, control all levers of power at this point.
Yes.
There are a few means by which Senate and House Democrats can affect this kind of thing, and they managed to pull it off yesterday. But what I think people are seeing is that when Republicans, right now, as Republicans have all the levers of power, things are going to shit.
Yep.
And if there's not a reform of ICE, if there's not body cams, if they don't take the masks off, if they continue the roving bans,
if they don't have badges with their names on them,
this is going to happen again.
It is inevitable. It will continue to happen. Nothing stops this except forcing them into the frame of the rule of law, because the rule of law is not masked assholes. And frankly, we're also seeing a lot of extrajudicial shenanigans now. There's a woman the other day who got her face captured by facial recognition at a rally.
In Maine.
Yeah, in Maine. And suddenly her TSA and global entry privileges have been canceled. That's not the law.
The exact kind of fear that we heard that the Patriot Act would usher in.
Yeah.
It's the exact kind of government in your private business, putting you in a database, listening to your phone calls, looking at your texts, tracking you. It is the exact kind of thing that we have heard for years and years and years that Joe Biden, Barack Obama would do. And yet here we are.
Who did it? Oh, it's Donald Trump.
It's Donald Trump. It's no surprise, honestly. I mean, he has no regard for the Constitution or the rule of law. He would like the first, second, fourth, fifth amendment to just be, writing on
Sixth,
paper.
10th, 14th.
He has no regard for the Constitution. Stephen Miller has no regard for the Constitution. And if it couldn't be louder, the demand from the American public that Democrats in Congress should shut this down
this
and fight
crap. Yeah,
it could not be louder. And if they can't hear it, they need to leave. I mean,
and by the way, I was having a text message conversation with a Democratic consultant yesterday. God love him, and he knows who he is. I'm not going to say who it is. Not somebody from our immediate family, but he's like, I just can't wait till we can get back. I mean, we should be talking about prescription drugs again. I'm like, what's wrong with you? They're burning down the fucking world, and you want to talk about prescription drug coverage. They're burning down democracy, and you want to talk about prescription drug coverage. Are you fucking kidding me?
They're
shooting people in the fucking street and arresting journalists, and you want to talk about prescription drug coverage.
Yeah.
What's the great issue with seniors? Really? That's nice.
There's a time for that conversation in the future.
Sure.
When Donald Trump isn't pissing on our Constitution and having his thugs execute people in the street. It really couldn't be simpler than that.
No.
And, what we saw yesterday, the Fulton County raid. I want to talk about that for a second.
Yeah. Let's, because that is a preface to 2028.
If that's not a pretext for canceling, postponing, or nullifying the midterm elections, I will eat crow.
Yeah.
This is about delegitimizing elections, and that is the last step Donald Trump has to take to put us in a full-on dictatorship.
Authoritarian dictatorship.
That is the last step, and he will try it this year. He is committed to trying it this year. Will he succeed? I don't know.
I got to tell you, Andrew, I look at it as the table setter to interfere with or cancel or federalize the 2026 elections. Federalizing them would be the least disastrous for our future. But I also look at this now with all this 2020 talk. You see that Fox is taking it up. All the MAGA influencers are saying the same thing over from the script. This is also what he's going to do to say, I was cheated in 2020. I deserve a third term. I'm going to have a third term. I don't need an election because I was cheated once before. It's what's going to happen.
And there's two reasons why Georgia. Number one is because of the 11,000 votes. Number two is because there was some recent polling out of Georgia that shows that Jon Ossoff
is going to blow the fucking doors off.
It's going to blow the doors off.
Yeah.
And they're worried about the governor's race. They're worried about losing Senate seats. This is what it comes down to. Trump sees the polling as increasingly bad. He sees the Senate as increasingly vulnerable, which it is. There's polling this week showing Roy Cooper and Jon Ossoff leading in their races. And we've got more and more Republican retirements coming up.
We're at 29 as of yesterday, I believe, right?
20. There was another one yesterday. I missed it.
I think it was 28 or 29, whatever it is. But
we were at 28 earlier this week when
Right.
Vern Buchanan said he wasn't going to run for re-election.
And Vern Buchanan, I knew Vern when he was not a Trump guy. Vern could have stayed in that seat for 1,000 years. They would have pulled Vern out of that seat feet first. Neil Dunn in Florida too, in the Panhandle, a guy who could have stayed in that seat for 1,000 years.
Right.
He's out, and now there's a 8 or 9 way Republican primary in that seat. I'm blown away, and it's happening everywhere. And you've got in Florida 27, you've got Salazar down there who is panicking so much she's even now attacking Trump. That's how much she's panicking. So the whole and to my shock, Larry Sabato moved Florida from likely to lean.
I was stunned to see that.
Then our buddy Alex raised $1.7 million in 12 hours.
He did. He's got an uphill climb when it comes to that race.
Sure, it's a fight.
But at the same time,
if not this year, when?
There must be something in the internals for the Republican Party of Florida that looks really, really scary.
Yeah.
And that wouldn't necessarily surprise me, considering the races we've had so far last year. We saw.
I also think there's a bit of a big mistake in the Florida governor's race where Byron Donalds is out today putting out videos like, I'm in Orlando. We're going to build an ICE detention facility here, and I'm proud of it. I want to help build it with Donald Trump. I'm like, you are betting on a bad issue there, perv.
He is, and the Trump administration is targeting Cubans in Miami now.
They're going to deport Cubans.
And that is going to blow up the stronghold.
That's why Salazar's freaking the hell out.
Yeah, that could do enormous damage to the Republican Party in Florida for statewide elections.
Yep.
Remember, the Cuban population in South Florida has become a redoubt for Republican, conservative candidates. That is a major source of their power in the state. And without it, the party is crippled.
It's 8% of the Republican base vote calculus in one county, basically.
In one county. And that 8% is what pulls them over the line every single election in statewide elections.
Why Trump won Florida.
Yeah, exactly. It is exactly why Trump won Florida. This is inevitable, sort of. When you're going after anyone who is not white or has an Anglo accent,
right,
you're gonna alienate these people. Just yesterday he signed an executive order about Cuba declaring some kind of emergency. So I expect a Venezuela-esque situation to go down relatively soon.
What people still won't process about that, folks, it is 89 miles to Miami from Cuba. When Trump topples the Cuban government, everything that floats in the nation of Cuba is headed to Miami. And I'm not talking about thousands of people coming. I'm talking about millions of people coming. They will flood the zone. And you could put every single ICE officer in the world on the beach on Key Biscayne, and it ain't going to stop these people from coming here. This is going to absolutely be the most chaotic induction of uncertainty into this state you can imagine. When way before your time, Andrew, in 1978, the Mariel boat lift, where about 150,000 Cubans came to the U.S., it broke the entire state of Florida's economy.
Yeah.
Add a zero to that or more, and people are going to absolutely be, they have no clue what's coming in this administration.
No, they don't. And this is an important thing for the midterms. Trump is, I've said this before, Trump is incapable of de-escalating. There will be disaster
Correct.
after disaster after disaster
Correct.
after disaster. His reaction will always be, every single time, it will be to escalate. It'll be to make it worse. His administration has no, it's not a tool they have. De-escalation is not a tool in the toolbox for the Trump administration.
Right.
So as we get closer and closer to the elections, they're going to keep ratcheting it up every single time. They're not ever going to back down. Trump will continue to alienate independent voters, Republicans, Hispanics, everybody in the country.
Well, and as Mike Madrid pointed out today, he is now underwater from where he's lower than he's ever been with Hispanics and blacks.
It completely reset to pre-2016 numbers with most demographics. What it means is that all that's left is from the Republican base is going to be the MAGA holdouts, the last stand of MAGA. And what that means for the country is that the people that Trump appeals to, the people that he serves with every single action, are the only people who are going to be on his side. And so he's going to keep feeding them. He's going to keep feeding them escalation, because that's what they want. They want to keep going up and up and up and make it worse, bring the temperature up at every single corner.
Which is why he has to cancel or screw up the elections, because every poll you and I are reading is breaking against the Republicans for the congressional and the U.S. Senate races now.
Fox News has Democrats up, I think, 7 points in the generic ballot.
Yeah.
And it's, it's not all to do with ICE. The economy is on a very shaky foundation right now. And what Trump is saying about the economy is nuts.
Right. We've got $18 trillion in cash.
We're going to make housing more expensive.
What the
There's nothing even to say. What do you even say to that?
Right. You can't.
Madness.
There's no there.
No. And even if ICE were to cool down, even if this was to this is economic polling. I'm not sure what poll this is from. But
I think it's Ipsos, isn't it?
56% net disapproval on the economy.
Oof.
16% with Republicans. 61% net disapprove with independent voters.
2-1, baby. There's the rule.
Every single time. It's baffling.
Once again, 2-1 or more.
Yeah.
Well,
So this is more polling about, this is from the KFF this week. We got a lot of polling this week, actually.
We did have a ton, right?
So this is interesting stuff. Among non-MAGA Republicans, you can see 48% say he's focused too much on foreign affairs. And this is not surprising. Republicans, MAGA and Republicans in general, foreign affairs, it's nothing.
They don't process it.
It doesn't move the needle. And he really loves that stuff because he's getting, praise from Saudi and Qatari billionaires all the time, but it doesn't do anything in his domestic sphere.
Yeah, no. Well, it's been another week of pure madness, and this next week will be even more hyped up.
Insane.
I suspect. He's flailing in a million directions. I had a friend text me during this whole thing, like he's like I count 7 major distraction operations going on. He goes, "What the fuck is in the Epstein files?"
It's true. People should still be asking this question. Are they over the deadline for delivering on the Epstein files?
38 days now.
38 days. Where's
it is one or two of these distraction things will collapse on themselves. Watch the election thing, though. That's their big bet right now. Folks, I have one funny joke to tell you before we sign off and show you the latest Lincoln Project advocacy ad that's running in D.C. First, I want to tell you to call your congressman, tell him to stay, or senators, tell them to stay strong on blocking ICE.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, use the app 5 Calls. That is an excellent app that gives you all their phone numbers, and it gives you topics to talk about. Yeah. So look into that.
So Greg Bovino was asked at a by an press avail in California. He's been shipped back home to El Centro, California, which, by the way, I've been to El Centro, California. It is hot. It is dusty. It is dry. It is the desert. It is miserable in ways that I can hardly express. But someone asked, how do you feel about this whole thing? Greg Vino says, I'm not happy. And someone from the audience yelled, which dwarf are you then?
You know, it's crazy to me. He has this sort of Praetorian guard of guys who are shorter than him.
Right. They're all like 5'6", 5'7".
And they follow him around.
They're over him
to
a
make
little
him look
bit.
Tall.
He's very tiny.
What a
like I said,
whenever
I called him
his
Dildo
voice,
Baggins, and 24 hours later he was fired.
I think that's what got to him.
Folks, thanks for watching as always. We appreciate you. We'll see you again next Friday. We will have more polling and festivities to show you where the perspective is. When you're talking to your MAGA friends and neighbors, you should exploit the fault lines we outline for you here. He's doing a bad job and they know it and they believe it. And more of them believe it every day. All right, let's roll out of this with the latest Lincoln Project Advocacy ad, and we will see you guys next Friday.
These weren't just murders. They were executions. Renee Nicole Good and Alex Preddy were slaughtered by ICE agents. Not for posing a threat, but for believing in something. ICE agents terrorizing yet another American city. Unqualified, unaccountable, violent, masked, protected by Stephen Miller and Kristi Noem, enabled by J.D. Vance.
That's a federal issue. That guy's protected by absolute immunity. He was doing his job.
MAGA is cheering their murder. They're bragging that ICE shot a mom of 3 in the face and executed a VA nurse. Fox is smearing them.
If he's armed and they knew he was armed, it was imperative for them to take him down.
Lying and laughing about their death.
Oh my God.
We've lost 2 American citizens. But if we don't stop Trump and MAGA in 2026, we'll lose more than innocent lives. We'll lose America.